dance for joy or lust or anger.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, a series where we look at usually practical, but in this case a bit impractical, sensible cars that you can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000 that are over 15 years old. This is a 1993 Audi 80 B3 or B4, there's some debate as to what these are actually called, 80 Cabriolet with a 2.3 5-cylinder engine. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Audi 80 Cabriolet was actually launched all the way back in 1991. It was a variation of the Audi 80, first a B3 and a B4 model. The B4 is just a facelifted version of the B3, and this is based on what's called a B3 coupe. So sometimes you call it a B3, sometimes a B4. This car is actually in really nice condition. It's for sale for some reason, and the owner has been very kindly let me drive it around Essex. The reason why we've not got the roof on, we have got the wind deflector up, but we can't quite work out. We did ask the owner before we came out how to put the roof back on. It's a manual roof in this car, and we're not really sure how actually to do that, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go. We just have to cope with what we've got. The other thing is, this car is flexing like an old convertible does, and that's just the way that it is sometimes with these. This 133 brake horsepower engine, it doesn't seem that powerful. I don't know whether it's because you've got this automatic gearbox in it. There was a manual available as well, but there we go. It's just have to do what we can. Its handling's actually quite good. The ride and handling are good. We've got the scuttle shake and things like that, but it actually does drive really quite well. The only thing I would say is that the steering is a bit lighter than I would have thought along these country roads. I would have thought it would be just a little bit more weight in this. But it's good. I am enjoying driving this very, very much. Personally, I'm more of a kind of a van person rather than just a cabrio person. But this car does look absolutely stunning. I can see why, having spent so much money engineering this car to be a convertible, because the B3 80 came out in 1986. This wasn't launched until 1991 when the B4 came out. So that's why I struggle sometimes to call it a B3 or a B4. The coupe version, which is based on, is called the B3. This, I don't know. Answer in the comment section below. Right, viewers, I do apologise, it is a little bit windy here. Look at the lines of this, though. What a fantastic looking car. The later ones, the ones after 97, actually do look different from this. One thing that's unusual about this car is the sills. I'm trying to work out whether the covers this car's got are actually factory or not. I can't quite work that out. Apart from that, it looks good. The chap who owns this car is a gentleman by the name of Pete, and Pete has said this car's actually for sale, which I didn't realise, but it looks really nice. The car's had a replacement dash in it, so the mileage actually isn't as it would be, but apart from that, it looks really good. We look in the boot, got a nice exhaust there. It's a bit stiff, this lid, but inside here, let's try again. Inside here, it's not the easiest way to do with one hand. There we go. And we don't have a warning triangle in there, but we've also got the wind deflector, which I would put on if we were driving this car with the roof down. I've just done that, and yeah, I'm not going to do that because I'll get very cold, but you can put this on. It's in a bag here, you can see it's all there. The boot is actually really deep, and this would be the sort of mode you'd have it in for the least space because the roof's actually down. It's a manual roof on this car, which is really, really annoying. It's like surprisingly annoying. You couldn't get electric roof, I think, until 1992, and then it wasn't standard. So this car hasn't got one. It's got like a vacuum system for doing it. It's really, really bizarre. But yeah, it's in very nice condition actually. There are very few marks on this considering the age of the car. And it's got a weird immobiliser thing as well. Let me just show you the button for doing the roof. So when you open the roof, and we'll have to maybe do that in a bit, you have to press this button here to be able to sort of store it. And it does actually take 2 people to get this cover down. It's a bit annoying. If you want one of these, I'd go for the optional electric roof, if you can find one. So really, really nice interior. I can't remember on this, I haven't looked this up, but I can't remember if this has the Audi Pro Con10 safety system in it or not, I'm not sure. It's a really weird designation, this car, because you could call it a B3 and you could call it a B4. It's quite odd. Technically it's based on a coupe, it's called the B3 coupe, but these didn't come out until the facelift occurred in 1991 when the car became known as a B4. So I don't really know. This is a 93, I'm just going to put both, I'm not sure. So electric windows and mirrors, these Audi interior door handles and everything. One thing that's really strange about this car is that it doesn't follow the same pattern of a lot of Volkswagen cars, where the lights would be somewhere on here. The lights are actually on this little stalk just here, which is odd. There you go, nice little beep there. We've got loads of gauges down here as well. We've got oil temperature, oil pressure, we've got a voltmeter, no aircon for some reason in here. You need it on a day like today anyway, it's December. Front fogs and things like that. The automatic transmission does have a sport mode, but I mean, all it does is hold onto the gears a little bit longer and makes it noisy. It doesn't really seem to do much on the performance. Mr. Manning from the Matty's Cars channel requires me to get into the back of everything that has 2 or 3 doors, so I shall. Fortunately today I've got unlimited headroom, so it's going to be a bit easier. Just step in here and I'll sit down. The problem is that if I put this seat back, I'm going to have problems. Yeah, not only that, if you're in the back, you've got to do that. So, no, that's not going to work like that. We have got 2 seat belts in here. Not much else really going on. We've got some speakers, but that's not going to work, viewers, is it? It won't work like that. We've got a little ashtray in here. Got lumbar adjustment, I think, on this as well. That's the recline of the seats. And then these net pockets in there. So reasonably practical. I can see why. If it were me, I'd be buying the Avant version for the extra practicality, because this doesn't have an awful lot of practicality at all. Not really. But that's fine, you don't buy a car that's practicality, you buy it for the way that it looks. Right, let's get out of here, and let me free myself from my self-imposed prison, and get in the front. So, what I believe has happened with this car is the indicators at the front have been replaced with clear ones, which is fine. It looks alright with them because the later ones actually did have them. The later ones have quite different headlamps as well, from ones from 97 onwards, which just was called the Audi Cabrio rather than the Audi 80 Cabrio. But here we have a 5-cylinder longitudinally mounted engine developing about 133 horsepower. I can see why, when they introduced the 1.8 about 97, I think it was, with the facelift, they kind of had got rid of this engine before that, because it was about 8 horsepower difference between them. And you know, this car isn't as fast as I was expecting. I struggled to find a 0 to 60 figure for this, but I imagine it's about 10 seconds. It's just not as fast as I would have thought for a 5-cylinder car. It doesn't feel as quick. You probably may just go for a 2 litre, which is about 113 horsepower, which is the same engine as the 8-valve Golf GTI, I think. So you could just go for that instead, or you go for one of the 6 cylinders, a 2.6 or a 2.8 that were made right up until the end of the car, which finished production in 2000. But yeah, so very strange to see a front-wheel drive longitudinally mounted engine. The cam belt is right at the front here, and the engine's actually really, really far forward in the car, which is a typical Audi thing. I wouldn't say necessarily it ruins the handling balance. Having driven this car, it drives actually really well. The biggest problem you notice is scuttle shake, which is really common on older convertibles like this. Okay, viewers, you've got my secret mission documents here. Let's put them in. No. Maybe Princess Diana didn't have any secrets to hide after all. She couldn't hide the documents anywhere. just like the sort of very simple way this is sort of done. It's very clear, but it feels very sort of upmarket as well in here. Everything feels very well made. Right, what we're going to have to do now, viewers, is put this roof up, and it's going to be a bit of a pain. Right, viewers, we've had a bit of a failure here. We can't work out how to put the roof back up, and we need to return the car in the next 10 minutes because my insurance runs out. So we've found the window fletch, we've put it up. We're going to put the windows up and just hope that it's okay. That's what we're going to do. And yeah, that's for your sort of viewing pleasure. So yes, unfortunately, we've not been able to show the car in the video with the hood up, but I mean, I'm sure you get the idea. I can't have a way, actually, the boot space seems to be affected by whether you've got the roof up or down. That's not the case on all convertibles. Actually, speed's actually okay. Let's put it in sport mode and see what happens. There we go. Ooh. So revs have risen a bit. I think all it does is just allow you to hold on to the gears a little bit longer, but you get plenty of noise. And that's sort of not much more performance. It doesn't feel much more responsive. I think if you wanted performance, you'd go for the 2.6 with 147 horsepower, or the 2.8 with 174 horsepower. Probably one of those. I can see why some people would just go on with a 1.8, because it would be a bit more economical in this 5-cylinder. It doesn't make the right sort of, doesn't make the same kind of noises that one of those does, but it'd be a bit more economical. And also, it's not much down on power. It's only about 8 horsepower difference. Yeah, it's actually quite a fun car. This, I like it. I just wish the steering was a little bit heavier. It's very, very light. And I wish we could get the roof on to get better audio, but unfortunately that's just what happens sometimes.